Hey YouTube, it's Cody or Frankenberry123 coming at you with a kind of a different video. I feel like I've put up too many deck profiles and not enough other stuff, so I'm gonna try to mix it up a little bit. This is kind of like a tier two deck discussion and what I think of the decks and how they play out, and if you're starting at the game, what you should play, what's the cheapest, or stuff like that. And here I have 5 decks. I'm going to show this at the last because it's kind of different, but these are 4 really strong tier 2 decks that I think that if you improvise enough, you could take to regionals or something and do decent with them, not just scrub out terribly. I mean, obviously there's problems with all 4 of these decks, like consistency or an inability to get over certain stuff, but I'll address all those. This is going to be a pretty long video, so first let's just clear these up, or I'll go ahead and tell you what the decks are first. So the 4 decks that I'm going to be talking about are Plants, Scraps, Gladiator Beasts, and X-Sabers, and this one's going to be TG Stun. So yeah, we're going to start off and going to the right, so it'll start off with Plants, then Scraps, then Gladiator Beast, then X-Sabers. So let me just clean these up here so I can have more room to... The first deck's Plants. I know a couple people that have played Plants before, and I'll have Spoofy's Plant deck up afterwards, but Plants, to me, are a really solid deck, and if you guys ever played back whenever they were really good, you'd know that they're busted. So, first off is I'm going to put the boss monsters on top, so this deck doesn't really have a boss monster, but Hyper Librarian, you have to have it. Basically, you synchro and you draw a card, and that's one thing that this deck does extremely well, so Hyper Librarian's pretty much a card that you have to have, so... Put these out. The first one is Lone Fire. Lone Fire, this card's busted as mess. That's why it's been at 1 for a long time. And basically you contribute it to get any plant out of your deck and special summon it. So I mean, you can get this guy, you can get this guy, and they're all extremely good cards, so it's basically like a Rhoda that special summons. I can't figure out a card to kind of compare with him, but oh, he's like Girga Arsenal. That works. Lone Fire's like Girga Arsenal. He's a really good card, and he's at 500. So Dandelion, everybody knows what Dandy does. If he's sent to the graveyard, you get 2 tokens, and that's good with Spore. Spore's a level 1 tuner that can bring himself back if you remove from play a plant. So Spore, there should be more Spore. If they had more Spore, I'm thinking the deck would be better than what it is. And then Debris Dragon. Debris Dragon brings back all this stuff and lets you synchro with it. So yeah, and they go into formula a lot too. I don't have a formula with me, but whatever. So yeah, those are Plants. Basically what they do is they get out mild answers to stuff, and they swarm the field pretty big, and they synchro like boss. So that's Plants. That's my thoughts of Plants. Plants have consistency issues if they don't draw their stuff, since they don't have glow up bulb anymore. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Now let me see, where did I put the rest of those cards? Okay, then the next deck is Scraps. 3, 4, 5. Now, what Scraps are meant to do, they basically pop stuff on the field, and they have their own wind-up rat, which is really good, and almost all the monsters can be beaters in here. So the boss monster, Scrap Dragon, you all know what Scrap Dragon does. It pops a card on the field, and if you think about why Scraps died, they died to Valor and Max C. Neither of which are extremely present in the format. There's no 3 ofs. That's what killed Scraps, was maybe them taking Tengu away, and Effect Valor, and Maxi. And now that none of those are really present, I mean, Valor's mained in some decks, but in others not. Scrap Chimera can be used again. Scrap Chimera special summons a scrap from the grave, but he can only be used for a scrap synchro. So, like, yeah, he needs 1700. He's basically a 1700 wind-up rat. That's like a, yeah, kind of like that. Then, Scrap Beast is a level 4 tuner with 1600 attack, and whenever he's destroyed by a scrap effect, I can get Scrap Chimera back to my hand. So yeah, this card, like both of these cards are busted. So, then T-King, you run T-Kings and scraps because there's nothing really that you add to your hand except for Scrapyard. So, T-King, then Gravekeeper Spy. Gravekeeper Spy is kind of like a new thing that everybody's doing, to where you can flip it and you get out fodder for Scrap Dragon, or you get out a Descendant that can pop a monster and make a giant push. So, scraps, I think they have potential to do really good. That at the regionals that I went to yesterday, I saw a couple people playing scraps. So, that's another thing. Then, Glad Beast. Glad Beasts are still a pretty strong deck to me. They're basically a giant toolbox. Like, the deck is meant to do nothing but toolbox. Gyzaris, he's one of the boss monsters. I don't have a Herc on me, so kind of bear with me. But Gyzaris, whenever you bring him out by contact fusion, and you blow up 2 set cards. And whenever he attacks, you can tag out and get 2 more that aren't Bestiari. Whenever Bestiari special summon, you can pop a back row on the field. In Murmillo, whenever he's brought out, you can pop a monster on the field. And Hop, whenever he's brought out, he's a 24 wall. And then Laquari, whenever he's brought out, he's a 21 beater. So basically, whenever any of these attack, you can tag them out. So like, if I normal summon Bestie, I can tag Bestie out and get a Laquari. And then Laquari's at 23. So it's basically a giant toolbox. And that if you have if you have these 2 on the field, you can contact fusion, send them back to the deck to get out this guy. Some people play Test Tiger too, but you know, whatever. So if you play a defensive playstyle, something that runs like, you know, like 16, 17 traps, this is like a really good option for you to play, and they're really cheap. Like, all of them have been hollowed out, but you like the common ones, like you can get common Bestie, you can get all this stuff like just in these 5 cards that I have out. You can get these like Gyzaris is 2, these are like 1, 1, 1, 1. So like, they're only maybe $50 to have a pretty decent Glad Beast deck. And then last deck is X-Sabers. I played X-Sabers last tournament. They did okay. But basically what all this stuff does, Immer's Blade, whenever he's destroyed by battle, you can special summon one from your deck. Bogart Knight is a marauding captain that can only be used for X-Saber synchros. You can special summon an X-Saber from your hand. Arabellum pitches one from the hand whenever he attacks directly. And Bogart Knight's a TG. Or Dark Soul's a TG. Whenever he's destroyed, you add, at the end phase, you add them from your deck to your hand. And the boss monster's got them. You can pop an X-Saber to pitch one out of your opponent's hand. So, X-Sabers, they're a little more expensive to make. Let's see, this is an Ultra Bogart Knight, but Super Bogart Knights are usually, like on Troll and Toad, I think they're like $6. This is $1, then like Rare Dark, or Super Darks, so these are Ultra, but you can get Super ones for, like maybe a couple dollars, and Immer's Blade's a couple dollars, so. But like, I don't have most of the synchros shows here, but like Fall Troll is like 6 apiece. Then Hunley's like 6 apiece. So these are probably, I'd say they're probably the most pricey deck that I have in here, but they're pretty good. So in the last deck, I'm going to show TGs. They really don't have a boss monster, so I just got 5 monsters here. And basically, in the end phase that they're destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can add one to your hand. So like, they attack over my werewolf, end phase, I can get Rush Around to hand. And they used to have Tengu, but now they have Photon Saber Tiger, which is okay. And Beast King Barbaros is a 3000 attack. Now I'm going to go over the problems of what all the decks have and what makes them to where they can't be tier 1. And most of these decks that I'm showing have been tier 1 at one time, and I'll tell you what format they were tier 1. So, okay, first off, TGs, the pros, I don't have any of the trap cards shown, but they have a lot of support. And the way they work, you can run a butt ton of traps and you don't have to run a bunch of spells. And with Skill Drain on the field, he's 2,000, he's 3,000. So, and with Horn of the Phantom Beast, another card that works good with the deck, he's 3,800. So, and you get to draw a monster whenever they destroy something by battle. And you have so much protection in this deck, you can just keep on attacking because you don't care what they do. If they have a Mirror Force, you have a Starlight Road or a Dark Bribe. So, but the cons of the deck, with the last time I competitively played it was roughly a year ago, and the problems that the deck has is opening hand. My usual opening hand was like a Rush Rhino, a Striker, or a Saber Tiger, and a Rush Rhino, and 3 traps. If they have something, like if they open up Heavy or Dead, if you don't have any protection from Heavy, that's game. That's pretty much a game. Because without that, they can get almost over anything. And if you like set your whole hand, I know it's like a bad play, but if they do that, you're gone. I mean, like, that's it. And if you don't have enough stuff to stop what they're playing, like I said, I played this roughly a year ago, so that's whenever Samurai was really big. Samurai can just dump. Samurai dumps on this deck. Like, for real, if they get out Barkion or if they get out Barkion, you're dead. If they get out Shein, that's gonna be hard to come by over. But basically, if these are all pretty much weenie monsters without skill drain, and if you don't draw into skill drain and you're playing like Samurai or something, they can beat over everything, and you won't have enough back row to protect yourself. So you gotta kind of play conservatively, but really defensive. So that's the pros and the cons of TGs. And TGs are pretty cheap to make. These are $1, $1, $1, $1. No, like $5, $1. Or if you get First Ed Saber Tigers, they're like $5. And then X Sabers. Oops, sorry about that. The pros of X Sabers is the utility they have. And it, like, you can go Bogart and Airbellum into 1,000, and that's like that's a free level 7. And then Golems can pitch cards out of hand. And, like, they just have a lot of utility. Not as much utility as Gladiator Beast, but they have enough utility to where, oh, your opponent has a lot of field advantage on you and you don't have crap. You just set Ember's Blade, and if they attack into it, you can get your play started by grabbing like a Dark Soul or something they have to attack with the other monster. Then, you know, you can get out Golems and, like, kill their hand. So, like, the pros about X-Saber is pretty much their utility, but the bad thing about X-Sabers is the consistency. This deck has major consistency issues. Even with 2 dualities, you can draw hands to where you just can't do anything. Like, today at Regionals, I opened up an Airbellum, a Fall Troll, which I don't have pictured, and then 2 Fall Trolls, and 3 Golem's Emergency Call. I couldn't do anything. I set Airbellum and passed turn, and I lost that game. So yeah, that Sabers, that they can swarm a lot, but they have really bad consistency issues. So you just have those, and then there's Gladiator Beast again. Their pros is that if they ever have advantage on you, they can just make more and more advantage. Like, if they tag out for Bessie, they can pop your back row, and after they attack, they can get out Murmillo and pop your monster. Or if they go this and tag back out after it attacks, it they can go back out and they can get and Laquari. Darius can bring one back from the grave. You can tag for Herc. Then Herc, all you have to do is send a card from the hand to the grave to like negate it from being destroyed. So yeah, that's the good part about it. But the bad part about it is basically if you can stop their attacks, they're dead. If you bottomless their bestiary, they're pretty much dead. But other than that, like, they don't have really minor bad stuff with them. It's just a couple really big things that can change the game for them. So then, yeah, that's Gladiator Beast. And most of these decks just lose to consistency issues. Let's see. Let's get these. I'm pretty sure this is all the scraps. Yeah. And scraps. This deck's relatively cheap to make, but I don't know. It's just like you can work really hard out to get Scrap Dragon and they bottomless it, and you're just dead drawn. This deck can make you draw really, really bad. Like, it's pretty much consistency issues like the last one. But yeah, it's there's scraps. I'd say out of all of these, this one probably has the least wrong with it. And I forgot to tell you guys whenever the decks were really good. Basically, TGs were good roughly a year ago in March. They were roughly good in March 2011. They won. No, they didn't. Oh wait, TGs. Yeah, TGs. They won Nats last year. Then Gladiator Beast Prime, I'd say, was in September, maybe September 2010 format. No, maybe like September. Maybe like September 2009, maybe. I don't know. I wasn't playing back then, but I'm pretty sure that was whenever they were good. X-Sabers were good roughly a year and a half ago. March 2011, they were really, really good. And then back whenever they had Rescue Cat, they were just fucking amazing. So, yeah, and then... Okay, yeah, that's about it. And then plants, if you guys don't know what these relatively do, you're pretty dumb, but it's consistency issues now. They just can't without, these are like, wait, where did it go? Oh yeah, there's Dandelion. These are pretty much the only three plants you can play. I opt to play Mystic Tomato, but a lot of people don't. And it has utility too, like you can go Lone Fire Spore, or Spore into Dandy, then like Synchro, and Synchro, because you can bring back Spore. You can just like Synchro and get 2 tokens and have a Hyper Librarian and like 1 for 1 for 1 for 1 and like into an Effect Veiler and Synchro Formula, so then you draw 2. Then like you have Debris Dragon, which can bring all of this back in Synchro. You can bring back Spore, or no, you wouldn't want to bring back Spore, they're both tuners. But the big play is go Dandy into like Black Rose and get 2 tokens. The bad part about Debris is he can only bring out for Dragon Synchro, so like that's why a lot of people only play. That's why a lot of people have to play to Black Rose. So yeah, it's basically consistency issues. But another big thing with with X-Sabers and this is they kind of have a problem getting over big stuff. Like Black Rose and all that destroys, but like with X-Sabers, anything over 3100 you pretty much can't get over. So yeah. Now if you didn't know whenever plants were good, you must not been in the game very long, because I can't remember if it was right before Glow Up Bulb got taken off the list. Plants were winning everything. I'm pretty sure it was March 2011? No. I can't remember if it was... It may have been September 2010. September 2010, I'm pretty sure, is whenever they won Toronto and all that good stuff. So, yeah, that was pretty much the discussion. I think all these decks have potential to be tier 2. So, peace out.